Hello, and welcome back to Roll the Bones. My name is Rob, and as ever, I am joined by my mystical, fantastical players Dom, Matt, and Mike. Mixing it up. I will be asking them the immortal question I always ask them. I know, on your toes. On your toes! What happened previously on Knights of the Apocalypse?
Tech.
Yeah, major tech issues. Matt's already gone because of his horror at the tech issues we suffered last time.
I almost didn't know because I didn't have any of my notes to run and grab them.
Wait, how far did we get with the tech issues before we had to call it?
So, I did a
I
little
nearly
bit
died.
I did a botch job, and we basically got to the point where you went to the library, and then that's when everything sort of just stopped working. OBS and Roll20 struck at the same time. So then we had to pause for a little bit. So we went to the library initially, but the morning began with Silasta performing a lesson.
Yes, except the rolls were not in my favour, as Werner rolled a critical and I critically
Decked by a
failed.
kid.
We worked that in and eventually started to push Werner around slightly, and then threatened Werner with "I'll be back," and then also said to Bogram, "I'll be back."
Didn't you chuck
say
him in
when.
a grave at one point?
I did. I countercharged him, so I told him to run at me, and then I just kind of stepped aside and pushed him in the grave.
A cruel
I used
trick.
that as a means. Yes, I used that as a means to entice him and said, "You could do this. You could learn how to do it." Basically saying to him, "Learn to read your opponent, and then the rest is easy." In theory.
That's right. So
Not always in practice, though, is it?
Werner began his tutelage at the hands of Silasta then, and it kind of has been left up in the air when the next lesson will be. Perhaps that is part of the lesson, that you don't know when the next lesson is going to arrive.
Constant vigilance.
Some vigilance.
Just out of the blue, you're just going to jump him in the street.
Always be prepared. Drop kicked from a nearby shop.
Trust no one.
Drop kicked into a shop.
Beware of the shops. Anyone can be in a shop. You have no idea. Yeah, so that happened, and then what else happened that day? You knew you had
Did some study.
business, yes.
Yeah, we all had breakfast, and then we went to the library.
Yeah,
And we did some study. There was a huge sort of, not so much a lore dump as a reference dump. There was some lore, but there was a bunch of reference books that we found out about. Knights of the Apocalypse. Knights of the Apocalypse.
Knights of the Apocalypse.
Butchering the name of the entire campaign. The Knights of the Apocalypse was just very little to be found about the Knights of the Apocalypse. We couldn't really find anything of note, which I think says a lot in itself. We looked up the Hunger. There were references to cults, followers, similar beliefs. The Azamar, driven by a hunger. We found a bunch of references to the hunger that were relevant. Hollow Descent. I've got associated with an area of Orenthal for a few hundred years. Thrandra.
yes.
But then I've got info in Google Doc because there was a lot of info on that one. I don't write there very quickly.
I think I also misinterpreted some of it because I got Thrandra and Barndon.
Yeah.
And I've got Leder King, Arland, and Valdenor for essentially a meeting about joining the True Light Rebellion.
Yes.
But I don't know who Thrandra was and who Barndon.
Thrandra was an old settlement that was on our older versions of the Orenthal map that is mysteriously not there anymore. And
Formally found that's it.
And not long after did Thrandra stop being used as a name or really being referenced in any way. The Hollow Descent started cropping up, where you learn that there is a path of darkness that leads into the that leads somewhere very dark into the Hollow Descent. That's all really got.
Ancient path, 5 chambers.
That's right. Yes, there are 5 chambers that await you on that ancient path. Should you dare to descend?
Should we give it a go? Which I'm sure we will at some point, because we are just gluttons for punishment, it would seem.
Because any drop of lore that mentions something, or anything mentioned by a villain that is too strong for us, we will just chase down.
We will.
No matter how strong they seem.
We'll go and do that. Get very super close to death, which happens all the time.
And get our teeth back.
We looked up vampires, which under the research bit for vampires, I've just written vampire lore and info, because we all know in real life everything that we could possibly learn about vampires. It's just that our characters now know it too. So we basically found out about, their some of their weaknesses: running water, sunlight weakness,
magic.
mind control, silver magic. Yeah, the standard stuff that we already know about vampires, but now characters do as well. Drania in the Snarewood.
Yeah, Drania
Druid of
Snarewood.
No, Druid.
Useful natural barrier. I've got highly dangerous. So the Snarewood is like a natural barrier against. I'm not looking at the map now. So what is beyond
The Granular Mountains.
Yes. The Snarewood itself is highly dangerous, and there's something called the Druid of Death.
That's Drania.
The Druid of Death is Drania. Right. Love it.
I think we came to the... Because you mentioned there's no actual accounts of people who have essentially lived and said, oh, that's Drania. So there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of speculation. And some people say Drania is the Snarewood. But there isn't actually a I saw Drania and lived kind of t-shirt. So
No survivors. Where do the stories come from, I wonder?
I'm glad you picked up on that.
And also, we looked at Gower, father of Gow.
Yes. Gower.
And actually, it's a moniker. It's a man.
Yeah.
It's not actually a person. So, well, it is, but the title Gower is given to giants. So potentially is in or near Orenthal at this point.
That's all we got. Yeah, well, that was an excellent rundown of some of the, most of the lore and the information that you got from the library. And then by that time...
Very briefly.
Oh, yes.
The hunger, all accounts of it lead back to the Azamar.
Yeah.
And then there
yes,
was
we did look up the Azamar
civil
as well.
war between the True Light and the Free People versus Zalax and the Exalted Legion. Of which I think it leads to assume True Light was victorious, seeing as that's what led to the Empirical and what have you. But what is left of the Azamar lingers in Brightspire in Aldarium, and they are ruled by the Paragon. I think.
Yes, the Paragon, I've got that as well.
Yep, he leads the Exalted Council.
Exalted Council.
The Exalted Council. And also, one for Obsidian, the Fugue Prism.
The Fugue Prism, Obsidian went and had a wee look in the Libris Mortis / Libris Mortis scrapbook that is hidden in the library that he's been attending, that he sort of cares for, checks up on the book, and and a few people use it. It's had additions put in it. And yes, one of them is about the Fugue Prism, which is a thing that a page that had been torn out, basically. So it's impossible to look up the Fugue Prism and research it, because the only place you could research it is in that torn out page of the Libris Mortis. So we'll have he's going to keep an eye out for any more references to that along the way. That was pretty much the end of the library, actually. I'm sure he did that last.
Yeah, so that even more than I remembered, because I was trying to move us on when actually there was more. Yes. So once you had looked into all of this, it then had become dark, and you had another appointment to make.
With the birdcage at the docks.
Silent
Wait.
partners.
So we went down to the docks, and it went off without a hitch, basically, didn't it? We
It
didn't.
was totally fine, yeah. Absolutely. I
Great
enjoyed it.
plan, worked flawlessly.
Yeah, I was so glad to go up front and try and talk to the murderous pirates. Turned out to be murderous pirates, anyway. Yeah, got totally mobbed and yeah. Well, no, actually, that's not true. We found out they were murderous pirates because we tried to pretend to be the buyer or the contact. And they then realized, oh, so that's who they were supposed to meet when we murdered everyone on the ship. So they'd already taken the ship, so they were murderous pirates. That's when we discovered. And then we were sort of mobbed, although, I mean, it went quite smoothly to begin with. It was like the opposite of the fights the way they normally go, because our fights normally start out like, oh god, we're going to die, and we get hit a lot, and then we chip at them, and then eventually we weaken them enough that we eradicate them. This one started out really well. Big amounts of damage, not taking too much damage, and then, particularly for Obsidian at the end of the fight, it went south. It went south quickly.
Well, credit for Ansel for actually getting the final shot on that captain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Credit
couldn't
to
let another
Ansel and
pirate captain get away.
for what they did. I mean, Silaster dragged Obsidian out of there to stop him from burning up and definitely dying, and also got the birdcage. And we, definitely stopped them escaping. I thought it didn't go amazingly well, and it did go south pretty sharply at the end, but we did all right.
And
We definitely
Obsidian.
do need an inflict wounds scroll or something.
Yeah, that's a thing that I'll be looking into buying.
I do remember at the end, though, once we were all taking our exits, Obsidian shoved some onyx in some of the fallen pirates and zombified them.
Oh, yeah. He's been shopping and has bought lots and lots and lots of onyx to raise some helpers along
Friends.
the way. Friends, absolutely.
Doesn't have any friends.
Absolutely. Because necromancers just want to make friends.
Make their own friends in most cases.
Yeah, completely. But that's a thing that that will come up depending on if they're. I think they're fairly bog standard orcs as far as zombifying them goes, because they don't keep any class skills, so they'll be standard Well, slightly better than standard zombies. I do say so myself.
I have to say, I do like the opening gambit from the captain was to attack and trip Obsidian, and he basically just tickled him. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it went
What are you
so
doing?
well. No damage. What you got? Nothing. And then, now I'm dead.
Well, to put it in perspective, then the captain's last. Well, there were two sort of last hurrahs, Hail Marys, as it were, that the orcs had in their sleeve. One was the captain had an Emberfire coal, which is a magic item that you have encountered briefly before, which is a coal that you leave in a fire for a certain amount of time, and then at some point you can hurl it, and it detonates with the power of a fireball. So he did that at Obsidian. And the other thing, which sadly got lost from the stream, was as Obsidian had been knocked out, Silaster was picking him up to pull him off the boat, which was great, and we got that on stream. What we lost was right at the end. I asked for a check to see if Silaster got off the boat in time, because there was a magical chest with scuttle carved into the side of it, just the word scuttle, which actually housed an animate spell of Greater Shout, which does a massive amount of damage to just physical objects, so is basically there to destroy the ship at a moment's notice, and that is exactly what happened. the Duskflower went up in flames. Fire reflected upon the water of the Dulcia. And as you steal away into the darkness, into the night, that is where we will return. So,
Cool.
in your hands, I think, Silaster, you'll probably still hold it. There is this bird cage. It glimmers gold and appears to have this sort of magical aura that exudes from it. Like I described before, it is more artistry. It seems like more of a thing of art than a thing of function. There isn't a bird in it, so that's a giveaway. But there does appear to be this odd kind of aura that seems to reflect about it.
Can we take a closer look with our magical visions? Silaster can sometimes identify things, and Ansel can certainly use detect magic to
Yep. So we'll
to
go.
divine it.
Detect magic is just automatic for you, isn't it? Or you can just turn it on and off whenever, right?
Yeah, it's not I don't have to cast it or anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyone who would like to make a knowledge arcana or some kind of an appraisal roll may do so, but I will give you what
I'll do my
first read, Ansel, which is effectively when you read magic, you read divination magic from this birdcage. Silaster, you can see that, or rather feel that there is some kind of magical frequency that connects this to something or other in a different location. From that check, it just seems that that's how it's built. Obsidian, was that Arcana?
Knowledge Arcana, yeah, 23.
Yeah, this would definitely be a receiver of divination magic, and it does appear to be a device. It does appear to be a device with that roll. Like, you can tell it has like a way of like making it work, but to do that would be a use magic device check.
Would you like me to have a go?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I don't have use magic device, so I'm not versed in it.
Sure. Scardy's not here at the moment by the looks.
Can I attempt to use a magic device?
Yes, by all means, make a roll.
32.
You immediately make it function. You realise that you have to have some kind of intent to connect with this item, this birdcage, and it's as you're looking at it that you see this strange spectral bird appear, flying in circles inside the cage. And as it does, it sings a song in common. I won't sing it, but this is effectively
Sing
what...
it.
No, I'm going to study sing it.
Sing it. You've got a lovely voice, Rob.
It sings, "The three kingdoms united, a realm in mourning, the people sighted with a deadly warning. Valdenor stands, leaderless, a sovereign with no crown. A change bears success, ere the walls come down. While tradition is known, a sure hand in the dark. When follow alone, doom takes but one spark. If one message may be heard to one or a million, embrace the true sovereign and join the dominion." And as the bird sort of like is flying around, it seems like regal and it looks almost like an eagle standing there on its perch as it lands now. I will send the whole thing into the chat. Just bear with me.
Thank you. That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure that Veldenor doesn't want to be part of the Dominion.
You don't know that. Have you asked?
Well, there's a new king and all of that going to happen. I'm pretty sure.
Not yet.
Well, there will be. The Dominion don't come in and stage a coup.
Interesting. This is a bird of song. We've walked past many, one or two bards of the songbird.
I mean, this could have relevance to that.
Could be a coincidence.
Could be. Depends if the bards are. Well, I mean, if they're bards, they might have information. We could maybe do some of our own research into this before we hand it over. I don't know whether that's considered a faux pas in your line of work.
Yes, how
I
firm
agree to
are
return
deadlines?
We'll see what Scardy says.
Okay. Fair enough.
As you muse on what the dwarf might say, you turn the corner to face the alleyway where Scardy had told to meet you as soon as you had taken it.
Whilst
so
we're
will
walking,
be
I'm just
expecting you. So.
just very slowly, one point at a time, healing myself.
Very good. Yep, that's all good. So yeah, you walk up the alleyway, and as you do, I'd like to perform a spot check, please.
I don't know why I always have to check spot. It's never changed. I don't think.
I'm looking at the floor.
And that's a bad miss.
It takes me 4 minutes to get back up to full health. So I slow things down as we walk.
Okay, so would you mind just reading out what everyone got again? Sorry.
6.
7.
20.
I'm busy.
So,
It's very distracting.
okay, Silastra, Obsidian, you're just sort of just walking into this dark alleyway. Ansel, however, you appear to be fairly sharp-eyed, and you spot something on the ground next to where that cart is at the end of the alley, the one that Silastra is standing near to. Just beneath the wheel of the wagon, there is a small curved object, and as you stoop to examine what it is, you see that it is a smoking pipe.
Was Scardy smoking when we saw him? I will point it out to the other two. Is it still smoking, or is it cold?
So you put your hand near where the ember is, and there is a warmth to it. It isn't super hot, but there is. If you were to toke upon it or to draw upon it, then you dare say.
Oh, I didn't realise it was that sort of pipe.
You dare say that the fire could be relit. Yeah, recent.
That's concerning. Why would somebody throw away their pipe?
You can just give me a roll and add your level, and that'll count to your memory.
What is my level? Oh, yeah. 18.
26.
Ansel and Silasty, you both remember Skadi had a pipe lodged in his beard, and this appears to be that pipe.
I don't need to remember.
Nope, you don't.
I'm going to drop into my
Very good.
hunter's stance, my hunter's senses, and gain scent.
Okay.
If he was recently smoking,
And I'm going to
maybe.
look around with dark vision and detect magic vision, which is 60 feet. So if there's anything within 60 feet in the dark or in the magical ether, I could potentially see it.
And I'll try to get a hint of that tobacco to see if it's something to follow.
Yeah,
Hint of
so
that tobacco.
there is
Then tobacco.
there is a
Sorry.
first of all, the read magic, and that you don't really sense anything magical within that radius that you described. It is
Cool.
there doesn't appear to be anything, at least for the moment. Silaster, you're smelling the tobacco to get a scent of it, and you can definitely smell it as some form of old traditional dwarven tobacco of some kind that he's been enjoying, but following the scent doesn't appear to be very likely. Like the pipe was barely lit as it was sat there under the cart in this cold autumn night. I said not yet, Ansel, because you do begin to start sensing something magical. And oddly, it is something that you feel is quite familiar. You turn and you see that in the darkness of the alleyway there stands a figure. It appears to be made of writhing shadow, as if half-transparent oil is constantly pouring off the figure.
Oh my god, so cool. Sidion's just like, you are so cool.
It beholds the three of you, and then immediately starts walking towards you, Ansel, in a beeline, until the point that it arrives directly in front of you. And as it does, almost face to face, it takes a sweeping single step back and gives a bow.
Oh, that's a relief. Hello, old friend.
The silent figure just inclines its head.
Ansel inclines his head as well. I imagine Cry, sitting on his shoulder, does the same.
Yeah, in fact, Cry probably does like a reverent bow back to the figure.
I would ask how you've been, but you were never particularly talkative.
He looks up into the sky and gestures at the moons that hang there. while not yet crescent, if we just do a little bit of a time check, because I am tracing the lunar patterns of our campaign, because I have a life.
Not got enough to do, so you thought you'd add in the lunar cycle
Today,
as well.
yeah, exactly. So today is the 12th, so
So we are close.
so not far at all, actually, until the next event of note, shall we say. But then he stands there, and it's almost like he begins to fade into the darkness, where Silasta and Obsidian, if you were to try and look at him directly, you don't really... You find it actually quite hard to like keep paying attention to him. This is seemingly an act of choice on the creature's part.
Silas Obsidian, this is another of my old colleagues. You are looking at...
Colleagues. Okay.
Yes, this is the shade of the sickle moon.
Oh my god, that's so badass. Wow.
We used to work very closely together.
Okay. What's he doing here? The end of this random little quest for a birdcage. Like, the fuck? What's going on?
I don't know. It probably has something to do with the Ansel gestures up at the moons above. Things have been strange for us lately. Myself and Cry, at least, I assume. Shade has felt similarly. I think he will come with us. I'm not sure. He always used to stay close. A little difficult to tell. Hard to hold a conversation with. Doesn't have any vocal cords.
I assume that this shade met with our friend Skadi.
Oh, I very much doubt it. The shade... It doesn't really have a... can't really have an effect on the physical world in that way. It can have an effect on people, but not on their physical form. No, Skadi is... what happened to Skadi must be something else.
Okay. And he can't
Suppose...
tell us if he saw anything, this shade.
He could potentially gesture, I suppose. Did you see anything, Shade?
The almost forgotten art of mime.
He's very good at mime, though.
Does he speak sign language of some sort?
We didn't really have need for it.
Maybe, but in terms of a gesture, you say, did anything happen? Shade simply pauses for a moment and then, with one finger, just does that. And then looks up at the sky once again.
Ansel looks up, half expecting to see nothing, half expecting to see the body or something ridiculous that we've not spotted somehow.
No, to your relief, you haven't been that blind. At least you look up. There's no sign of Skadi. You just see the blanket of dark clouds gathering over Valdonor in the autumn night.
I don't know what that means, sorry.
He just goes silent and doesn't appear to offer anything else. Doesn't seem to particularly bothered by the.
That makes sense. Why would he be? Any other leads? Ansel says, looking to the other two.
It's not really my. I was just asked to come to the dock, get a bird cage, and a couple of bodies, which I got. A couple of friends.
Speaking of then Obsidian, the orcs that you had risen, shall we say, will they have just immediately followed you, or would you have commanded them to do something or other?
That's a really good question, actually. I completely didn't check. Give me 1 second.
Because I am curious whether they would have followed you from the...
it's about whether I have immediate control over them or not. The undead you create remain under your control indefinitely. Okay, so with Animate Dead, which is the spell I used, they do remain under my control. It's a later on spell where you could make more powerful ones where you have to control them afterwards. So yeah, they're just 2 zombies. I have cast Gentle Repose on the pair of them, so that they look relatively alive. They just have slightly sort of milky green in the eyes, a slight sort of milky green glow, and basically, yeah, they're just a couple of servants. I will rename them. I'll maybe ask the kids to do it. They came up with such gems as Mr. Nobby. I'm sure they can name my 2 new manservants.
Okay.
Who came up with Black Whisper? Was that Obsidian?
That was Obsidian. Obsidian named Black Whisper, but he asked one of the kids to name the other one, and
He asked one of the kids to name the other one, did he?
It was his
There's
daughter.
any wonder that he is playing up.
He loved the horse. She wanted him to be called
favoritism.
Mr. Nobby, and he didn't have the heart to say no. So the horse is Mr. Nobby now, and he has to keep the name because the horse responds to it.
Okay, so
Silasta's going into the acid flagon.
Okay. So as I'm desperately trying to grant control, there we go.
You feel in control?
Well, I'm in control of one of them.
Yeah, one of them and the other. Yeah, so Silasta, you move into the acid flagon. It is late in the night, but still there is customers. There is the low hum of the last stragglers in the tavern drinking themselves into a stupor. What do you do inside the acid flagon?
You walk up to the bar and gesture for the barkeep. Gesture, that just sounds like I'm just going spelling.
All right, strangers, how's it going?
Yes, well, I'm looking for that dwarf who's not there. Skadi, the one who used to sit there. Maybe sat over there, I don't know, he's a dwarf.
Plenty of dwarves come in this establishment.
Say, don't be racist.
Pipe and a beard.
Not down it down,
Still
I'm afraid.
a bit racist.
Sat in that chair.
Stereotypes.
Listen.
Skadi.
And he leans in with a threatening glare at you, and he says, "Now you listen. I believe in my customers' right to privacy. That's why this is a popular venue for those that don't wish to have tales told about them. So you better have a very good reason why you're asking after one client in particular."
I have a package for him.
You're very welcome to leave it here. And he gives a broad smile.
How about I leave you a forwarding address?
This ain't a post service. Do I look like a rook to you? It'll cost you, he says.
What's the fee?
How dangerous are we talking? What do you wish? What message do you wish to convey?
His package will be at Graves and Co. The mortician.
Are you bringing criminal underground to Bogram's family home? You bastard.
It's the only connection Silas has right now.
Staying in the
Love to even act like I'm remotely
Sit
surprised. I'm not. Because I know what you're like.
This time, Mike is not content with getting your character killed, Matt. This time, he wants to get your whole family
He wants
killed.
to fucking destroy my family. Yep.
You're in your line.
It's my whole line, yeah. Oh god. No.
Very
Well,
good.
Obsidian's not there to currently argue with me, I'm afraid, but
So, he'll lean in and say, that'll be 20 gold pieces.
fine.
20 gold pieces for that, and you just...
Silaster knows if he attempts to haggle, it's only going one way, and that's up.
A bargain is struck. Is there anything else that you'd like to... Well, while Silaster's doing that, Obsidian, Ansel, you doing anything in this time?
I think Obsidian's just watching any interaction that's going on between Ansel and this creepy dude. Obsidian's just sort of along for the ride tonight. He doesn't really know what's going on. I was just asked to come along and help you get a birdcage. I don't even know what this is about.
I think Ansel and Shade are just like doing like mirror movements.
I love that.
So weird.
Is there anything else that you'd like to do with the rest of the evening? For tomorrow morning, a royal escort will be arriving for Obsidian and anyone else who cares to join him to business in the castle.
Do you want to see if we can find some way of healing you, Obsidian, if you suffer a grievous wound again?
That's a good... I mean, that's just going to be a place where they sell scrolls, isn't it? Or wands.
Or wands?
All we need is, like, inflict light, the lowest level thing, which should be relatively easy to cast. For anybody use magic device or whatever. So no, I think I can do that another time. I think that's going to be a daytime thing in a magic shop of some sort. So yeah, I think that's, as long as everything is done with the birdcage and you're happy with that and how this has all worked out.
Not particularly.
Silaster will turn around the corner. Seeing your early start, can we does it say a crash at Bogram's place?
Yeah. Crash. You can crash, man.
Very well.
You can sleep on one of the slabs.
It's a boys' night sleepover. Ooh, ooh.
You can help me disguise my two new friends here as just salvageable, like, servants.
Can I just say that Salasta's going to put the bird cage in the front room here, just for the time being?
Oh, God.
I realise that that already we have visitors, but they won't be there just yet, as I didn't realise we'll be going here nightfall. So, yeah, you arrive back, and yeah, is there anything you want to do right before you go to bed at Graves and Co?
Couple drinks.
Couple of drinks, okay.
Yeah, knock back a drink. The boys back.
It is very late. You don't hear any sign from the rest of your family per se, Obsidian. But I would like each of you to perform a listen check, please.
Ooh, 19.
Ooh, 18. My God.
20.
We're all because
Where did this come
sat,
from?
That's the thing. We're sat and we're quietly mellow talking. That's what we're doing. We're doing a quiet late night mellow talk. So any noises are just like, oh.
You hear
Super.
the creak of floorboards, first upstairs, and then the unmistakable sound of footsteps on the stairs. Obsidian. You recognise this sound. You just recognise the sounds that your house makes, as we all do. And you look to the doorway that leads from the hallway to the kitchen. And there stands your daughter. Frosty! Frosty, come back!
Oh, God. As creepy as I am, with all the undead and stuff, there's nothing creepier than a kid with an imaginary friend. Okay. Right. Where am I looking? Is she on the screen?
No. Well, she is, but just not
Oh,
in
she
where I
is. No, but right.
described,
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so she'll
Yeah,
just be...
So she's at the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Presumably we've not seen Frosty.
No, you haven't seen Frosty.
I want to check her. Is she awake, or does it look like she's sleepwalking?
Give me a heal check.
Okay. It's the same. It's just a 1. Oh, hey! That's natural 20 in the game. That's 21.
Yeah, your daughter appears to be in some kind of mesmeric state, and you watch as she moves to the kitchen and then stops and says, Frosty, where have you gone?
This is creepy. This is super creepy. Okay.
What do you remember about Frosty, Obsidian?
I don't. It's like imaginary friend, right? Like she's got an imaginary friend.
No. So your
No.
wife, Naya,
Sorry,
made
I'm
reference
misunderstanding.
to Frosty
She
before.
did, yeah, and I can't remember.
That's okay. Frosty is the cat. Or rather, Frosty
Right.
was
Yeah.
the cat.
Frosty was the cat. Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay. Frosty was the cat. I mean, at this point, we sort of think the best thing to do, if she is in a sleepwalky type state, is just lead her back to bed. But she's searching for a dead cat, and it's been explained to her. Do I get a sense there's something weird, like, going on around her? Ansel.
Yes.
Could you just... It's just you do it so naturally. Could you just check the place? Just check, just while she's in this state. Just because I'm worried someone's messing with her, and I'm not happy about it. Could you just, like, do a little scan? Just check her
You
over?
Bogram, anything.
I would be much obliged. Thank you so much.
Ansel will use his eyes for all the dark corners of the room, which, because it's nighttime, there are so many dark corners, light up with eyes,
As
all
you
peering.
As you do, you notice two things. First,
Oh, dear.
you suddenly see, Ansel, a cat. It is spectral and white, and it appears to just be sat on top of this Arga here. And it takes one look at you, and then it just hops out of the window. The other thing you notice is perhaps more intimidating. You get the exact feeling that you had when you had stood in that graveyard and you all made checks. You'll
my house.
You do a detect magic and a read magic, right, Ansel? You just detect it.
Just detect, but if I concentrate on it, I can get a sense of what sort of magic it is.
Yeah, it's like you're standing in a mist of necromancy where you stand currently. The dark power.
Obsidian. Could I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Get your family out of this house.
Okay. Creepy. It's a really ominous thing to say. Why do we think the house is? I mean, if it's haunted, that's not a problem.
It's haunted in the same way the graveyard was haunted.
Whoa. Oh shit. Okay.
And the cat appears to be a spectral cat. It just hopped out of the window there.
That is grim.
There's nothing on the little girl, is there?
No,
Magic-wise.
actually, as she walks away, there appears to be an aura about her as you look at her, Ansel. As she moves through what you feel is this mist of necromancy that is just surrounding the area, she appears to move through it fluidly. As she begins to make her way, out of the room towards the door that she entered in. And it isn't long before you hear her footsteps go up the stairs. And then you don't hear them again.
So, it's all coming back to me now. The cat died.
Right.
Frosty was the family cat, and it was explained to her that the cat had died. She understands death well. I mean, as much as any child can understand death, given where she lives and given my work, she has a fair understanding of what death is. But she lately has been a little airy. Keeps hearing whispered voices and keeps trying to play with the cat, the dead cat.
That's concerning. As I said, there was a cat here.
A ghost cat.
A spectral cat, I would probably say, but that's more your area than mine.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be a cool pet, though, wouldn't it? Like,
Very
if we could figure that out, keep the ghost cat as a pet, that would be amazing. I think that this is something I need to talk to her about when she's awake. And if she's gone back to bed, I think it's probably for the best for now. So there are more checks that can be done. But I need to ask her what it is she's been saying. I need a proper conversation with her about it. Perhaps take it a little more seriously. I thought it was just a bit of a imaginary friend type of thing, but something more sinister going on here that links to the graveyard.
Yes, and not to overstate it, but the house is riddled with necromancy. And not your
that's
necromancy.
not my necromancy, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm not sure what I can do about it now at the moment. Okay. Rob, I will cast Detect Undead, right? On just like as a cone and do a bit of a scan of the place and try and pick up that energy, that necromancy.
So you're using what? Sorry, just to confirm.
Well, I think Detect Undead is going to do it. I think I will also use Detect Magic, but only because I want to recognize this necromantic mist that's in the air that Ansel has mentioned. So I will do the same thing. I'm going to do Detect Magic. I'll sort of scan the room, concentrate, try and pick up on the magic that's in the house so I can see it as well.
So as you detect undead, what is the range of Detect Undead? Does it tell you?
I was doing Detect Magic as opposed to
sorry.
Detect Undead.
Detect Magic, you'll pick up...
Detect Magic is... and they're both the same, so I think it's a 60-foot cone.
You will detect magic and basically receive the same result as Ansel. It is like this moving, ever-moving mist of necromantic power, and it is a power that is like generally familiar to you as the same sort of energy that you call upon to perform your magic.
Okay.
But that's all you get with Detect Magic. You detect magic.
I will also follow up with Detect Undead, which again is a 60-foot cone-shaped emanation, which I will aim around the room where she was, and I'll follow her path, a sort of scan as we walk kind of thing, see if I pick anything up with that, which I say is a 60-foot cone-shaped emanation.
So they're in terms of the undead, you feel something as you move from the kitchen to the hallway that seems to be coming from the house, outside the house, sorry, a small creature appears to be slinking along the side of the house, its tail up, trotting sort of like the length of the house. As you're walking away, you sense that Frosty is nearby.
Okay. That's 2 of those. My last attempt, my last thing. I want to... everything within 20-foot radius. So I will stand where I felt that with the detect magic, that the necromantic sort of mist, the necromantic power was strongest.
Yes.
Where she was stood, and I want to do an area dispel.
Oh, okay. Wow. Right. Dispel magic.
So, for each creature within the area that is the subject of one or more spells, you make a dispel check against a spell with its highest cast level, blah, blah, blah. For each object within the area, you make the dispel checks as with creatures. Ongoing area or effect spells whose point of origin is within the area of the dispel magic, you can make a dispel check to dispel. But it's going to be... I don't know what obviously your DC is for it, but it's 1d20 plus caster level.
Yep, that's fine.
Maximum of 10, so it's 1d20 and plus 8.
Make the check.
Okay, could have been a lot worse, actually. Quite pleased with that. 24.
Yep, and for the 20-foot radius that the area dispel can reach, zoom! It's like you cast a dome of cleansing power, which forces the necromantic power from its reach, and suddenly you feel all of that weighing heaviness lift for a moment as you dispel it. However, it's almost like by doing that you now feel like you're sort of in the eye of the storm. You can still see around you and feel around you that outside of that 20 feet, which admittedly is a large area, that it appears to be all consuming. This is around the entirety of the house, for sure.
Yeah. I was just hoping I could make some connection to whatever is causing it. Okay, we're going to have to research this.
And we have returned. And we are now solely recording this game, so this will be quite telling to see if there is any change or not. But we'll go with it. So, the sun rises upon the Graves and Co. family household. I say the sun rises. It is a grey day. The drizzle has just continued on through the night and into the morning. Silaster, you have been awake before everyone else, as you have significantly less need of rest. So, is there anything that you were doing in those remaining hours before the day was truly here?
You probably would have just been doing some exercises in Obsidian's graveyard, just practicing some bits.
Okay then.
Nothing.
Okay. It is
punching a grave.
Yeah.
It is later that morning then, upon the 9th hour sharp, Obsidian, as you are preparing yourself, you hear the brum, 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 brum sound of regimented footfalls. and it is not long before you can peer out the windows, and you see that a company of not militia, soldiers stand outside your home. And with them are two figures that wear armour that you recognise. Two members of the Dragon Guard have walked with a contingent of the Castle Guard of Valdenor, and just stand there outside waiting.
I think that Bugram will have put on his best attire, his proper funeral director's garb, which I imagine is like a sort of robed suit type thing. Very as smart as he gets, given that he's, not the wealthiest of people, but has a bit of money. He's upstanding, so he's got his proper business gear on, and his hat. And brush his hair back. He'll redo his roots. Redo his roots just before he goes to bed. Bit of boot polish. And yeah, he will head outside.
Okay, and just for the record, just so I caught that clearly, no mask.
No. That's no
checking.
mask. No, they want Bugram. They know it's him, and they know it's the funeral director that they're after. So he's, he's a good liar. He'll cover up why he's hanging out with these two, who I assume are going to come with. But like, he has nothing to do with Obsidian. It's all good. It's all separate. So, yeah. So he's
very good.
Just in his suit.
Silasta, Ansel, are you coming? Is there any preparations that you would have made before leaving the house?
Only if we wanted.
Silasta would have made a preparation, actually.
Yes.
Well, no. Done now.
Just before they were turning up, Silasta would have snuck away out peps. Silasta comes in from the back door with his the shift weave on. But you'll notice the shift weave has a mortician's attire, which Silasta is now wearing.
Very nice.
And there is a very faintly Graves & Co. etched into it, as Silasta has shift weaved the previous session.
Like a proper uniform.
A Graves & Co. uniform.
Graves & Co. Like Walmart.
So you're surprised that Silasta has appeared in basically, it's like you in a
in like...
suit and a hat.
Okay.
Ansel will have asked for your second best suit. Or maybe asked your wife for your second best suit. But given he's probably at least a foot taller than you, it's very short on the arms and the legs.
We are so inconspicuous, aren't we, chaps?
And before he leaves the house, he's going to he'll secrete cry into his borrowed clothes, and he will ask the shade to hide in his shadow to try and keep him away from prying eyes.
The shade will very much do so, hanging in perfect unison with your every step, Ansel. Very much your own shadow, manifest and alive, and responsive to your every call.
Excellent. All ready to go.
One of the dragon guards steps forward as you step outside Bogram, accompanied by your two associates. By order of First Voice Apophis and Arcane Zarya, you are to accompany us to Castle Valdenor. I think Don just left us, and I can't hear Matt.
Damn it! For God's sake! He's got a hat. Lovely. He just says, "Yeah." So it would be an honor, gentlemen. Please lead the way.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you. They give like a salute, and like you definitely saw the Dragon Guard the once when you were making your way across the Arrowhead. You came across them whilst they were the mounted force riding across the plains of Orenthale. But now on foot, and up close, you get to examine like their pristinely kept ornate armor. You note that each of them the two Drakengard at least have long flowing cloaks that are embroidered with a silver blue dragon like skull kind of symbol. Their helms almost look draconic as well. And they catch what little light there is of this gloomy morning as the three of you are escorted through the streets. And it isn't a subtle affair. It is a very deliberate march through the very centre of Valdenor, as your escort moves you through the city. Is there anything that you want to discuss whilst you're on your way to Castle Valdenor, which is high above?
I don't think so. Gotta just be staying quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, Salast is feeling very exposed. He's just like, oh god.
I think Ansel's
Getting
just
occasional
grinning.
uncomfortable glasses at Ansel's hat.
Yes, that's fair. That is fair. You continue to march then, and as explained and as you've sort of seen before, this city is very much tiered into different districts, and you find yourself moving through the heart of it now. You move through the Court of Guilds, through the Path of Faith, and it isn't long before you see the curtain wall of Castle Valdenor itself. A great sweeping structure that has stood there the longest and the oldest of all of this settlement. The castle was built first and the settlement grew around it, as is often the case. And it is pressed up against the mountain seat of the Grenial Mountains. And as you get higher into this sort of tiered portion of the city, you kind of have like a really good view of the rest of the city around you. As you've been moving through the Path of Faith, you note that like there's a number of like new structures that have been commissioned, so there's sort of like quite a lot of footfall as you move around this part of the city. People going to their morning prayers before another hard day at work of toil. You pass other regiments of the city guard on patrol. And then at last you come to a great set of gates. Upon them is sort of like carved with reliefs of many different dragons. And as you pass through the gates, you see the structure in its full majesty. There appears to be a massive statue of a stone grey dragon that sort of like looms large over the front of the castle. Can you each give me a history check or your level if it is better? Due to this is partially a memory, if you from something you've heard before.
It certainly is better as a level. 17.
Yeah, you remember Ansel?
12.
Oh,
You probably would. Yeah, you probably.
I lived
would,
here.
Yeah, you've lived here, so
I'm
I'll
still
take
rolling
that
the
into
dice.
account. And Silas
So
is
frustrating.
still rolling the dice. My God.
Still rolling.
What's
Well,
wrong with
we'll
you?
go with
You see me
Ansel because
rolling.
Ansel's is a success. Bogram, you'll sort of like have like a periphery knowledge of this because you've lived here, I suppose. The great
14.
dragon statue is known to be it's stood there almost as long as the castle has itself, and it is rumoured that when the ruler of Valdenor takes their scale, whatever colour it is determines what kind of ruler they will be. It is something that we did talk about previously, but it was a while back. So that great...
Did we know what scale the old king took?
You didn't know. You actually remember reading Darrick's journal on this, actually. And he had boasted at being present when the last king took his scale, but it was never said what colour that scale was, and after Bogram's check then, he didn't know. So I'm going to say no, you don't know what colour the scale was.
Yeah, I remember the scales thing. I can't remember either what. Yeah, it didn't come up, did it? Definitely didn't. We didn't find out what scale he took.
You don't know what colour it was, no.
Sure, we found out. Okay.
You didn't. I can assure you, you didn't.
No, I know we didn't. There was something else that we did find out, and I'm trying to find it, but I can't remember that was relevant to the scales thing, but probably not. I have it here. Line of Kings of Arathon when he chose his scale on King Dectus.
Yeah, so that's effectively it. When you choose your scale, when you become king,
Session 12.
apparently the whatever colour the scale is will denote what kind of king you will be. And that sort of aligns with the many different heritages of the draconic family, shall we say.
Yes.
You march onwards, and you are brought into the castle, and the march continues. You pass bustling servants and other patrols, and it isn't long before you stand before a set of heavy wooden doors that swing open, and before you behold one of the finest interiors of a place you've ever beheld. The throne room of the castle itself. Beneath your feet there is a plush blue carpet that rushes up along this long marble decked hall to a tall set of stairs, and at the top of that set of stairs there sits a throne, garbed in blue. There is a pristine amount of light that gets filtered in through stained glass windows. And at the foot of the throne there stands two figures. One appears to be an older man in long green robes. Another a woman in sort of violet robes, with a hood raised. And at the foot of each of the tall pillars that sweep high up to hold up the lofty ceiling, at their foot there is armed dragon guards that stand to attention. The dragon guard that led you says, First Voice Apophis and Arcane Zarya, I present to you the mortician Bogran Graves and his associates.
His entourage.
Very good, Creed. Apophis will say, you may leave us. Come, Mr. Graves. There is much that we must discuss.
Could I just make a mental note of what Creed looks like? Because we have something here.
Yes. So Creed has his helm under his arm when he announces you. He's got a strong jaw and flowing straw blonde hair that comes to rest just at his shoulders here. Very handsome looking man.
And it was
will approach. And I will take a
Apophis
knee.
and what, Zarya?
I'll put it in the chat. So it was First Voice Apophis. What a first voice is, you can do a history check for. And Arcane Zarya.
Arcane Zarya. Oh, go on. It could just be. $10.
14.
Just straight intelligence, I'm afraid.
So, Ansel, you remember from the storybooks that in every fairy tale kingdom that you've ever read about in stories, the first voice is always the evil schemer that has plans of taking over the kingdom himself. Very much the vizier role.
Vizier, right?
That's effectively what the first voice is. It is the first counsel to the king. The first voice that the king shall hear, hence the name.
Yeah.
And he
Greetings, O plotting evil one. Bogran will step forward and will take a knee.
There is no kneeling here, Mr. Graves, for there is no king upon this throne, and you do not bow to us.
Very well. Am I to understand that you are in need of my service?
He sort of looks at you with sort of like a long, bemused smile. You can each give me a sense motive check.
Don't mind if I do. Not that I'll be any good at it. But this guy next to me, he might be good at it. 15.
21.
Yeah.
Actually, better than I thought it was going to be.
20.
Bogram, you feel that this man is like vaguely is being quite polite and smiling to you ever so vaguely. Silaster, Ansel, you see that there is almost like that there is a strong amusement behind this man's expression, like when Bogram says, I'm here for to give my services. There doesn't appear to... You're not sure whether there's venom in that amusement, but it is there, certainly. Yes, you have been
Ansel is
summoned.
going to subtly glare at the first voice. Not like a full-on, but like a... I know your kind.
That is right. You are here, Mr. Graves, to conduct your services in the name of the fallen king. Long live the king.
It would be an honor to be of assistance in any way that I possibly can to the crown and to the royal family. This will be the first royal appointment that I have received, but I believe that I am up to the job and up to the task. Exactly what is it that you would ask of me?
Well, it is...
Long live the king.
Long live the king. Also.
Long live the king.
Oh, the king's dead. Long live the king.
It is, yes. We do very much appreciate your coming and the how you gladly offer your service in the name of the crown. You might be wondering why it is that we stand before you. For I'm sure you are rather accustomed to receiving what work that is expected of you, and then you do that work. You will be attending to the Royal Highness's countenance, shall we say, before his funeral. A funeral that has been arranged to take place some days and nights from now. And he will actually give you the date. The 23rd day of reaping shall be the day. Which is, from today, including today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days' time.
Wow, okay.
You might be wondering why it is you that has been summoned here, Mr. Graves. I do not mean to insult you, however, I'm sure you could probably surmise that there are those within the castle of Valdenor that are well equipped to perform such a task.
I am not, and the Graves and Co. company is not in the habit of asking too many questions of those who request our services. But in this case, given the circumstance, I certainly am curious as to why it is my services you have sought.
While it may not be your business to ask questions, Mr. Graves, it is indeed mine. You see, your commission was personally requested by none other than old King Dactus himself, within his very will. which is why we felt it necessary to ask if you had any reason, to your knowledge, why this might be. And there, you can see that the old man who's sort of like leaning over the stairs down at you with this like utmost curiosity. The arcane Zarya, this mysterious woman who stands at his side, is just looking at you with no trace of emotion on her face, just coldly looking down at you.
The king, in his will, personally requested me. Well, it could be in no small part due to the fact that I am a proper ledge.
An absolute ledge.
Absolute classic ledge.
The lands for being a ledge. Long live the king.
No, it was say I have never met nor interacted with His Royal Highness. And as I said before, I have never received any royal commission. Although my household has recently undertaken a form of royal commission, a royal request, we should say, due to the higher levels of business of my kind. But is there any way, any possibility that I might have a look at this document?
Yes, there is.
Maybe could help shed some light.
You will have the document shown to you in good time. You are here today to make your initial assessment of His Royal Highness's form. You do have plenty of time in which to work. This time is the traditional amount of time.
Oh, God.
But it is also time that is sorely required. For, as I'm sure you're aware, a number of very important people from all across Main Realm will be attending the funeral of the longest living ruler this realm has known. Including the heir to the throne, Prince Vrandon, who even now falls back from the front line of the war against the Dominion.
I am more than prepared to make my assessment and to be of service.
The lady is going to take a single step forward. You must understand, she speaks, that certain checks must be made before you may stand before the body of the fallen king. You must understand.
Of course.
The three of you, I would like each of you to make a will save, please.
Is this a spell?
It is.
Or spell-like ability?
It is.
Good.
I'm guessing it's none of the things off of my list.
Well, I didn't prepare that maneuver.
27. Yes, Ansel!
35.
Oh my word.
Any time now, Silaster.
It's still rolling.
Silaster's rolling.
Easy.
Slowly. I'm singing this because it is his favorite song.
Favorite song. It is favorite song. Favorite song. Look at him, his favorite song.
I blame the hotspot for it taking so long on my part.
I've never come across dice that
Yes.
roll this slowly
Yeah,
before.
it is
I
definitely
don't
that.
understand.
It was fine at the start.
If it was a real dice, it'd be like rolling across the table, like
Hitting everything.
Yeah. It's a thing, isn't it? I know you can get. You haven't got the animated dice on the screen, right? Because I know that's a thing. They
No,
do it
it's
Just
not.
because I'm using my phone, I think that's why it's taking so long.
Though interestingly,
So,
Less than half of what I got.
okay. So, it just made the sound effect to me just now. I don't know if it did the same for you. Oh my goodness. So, Silas.
I've actually been hearing any of our sound effect from rolling, which is probably for the best.
You aren't ready for what is about to happen. Bogram and Ansel, you feel as if some presence moves against you and attempts to scry into your very minds. Suddenly, Arcane Zarya stands as tall as a tower in front of you, Silaster. A piercing gaze aimed down upon you as she makes a reckoning of you. Curious, she says. What interesting company a mortician keeps.
Morticians, by the very nature of the work that we do, come across all kinds, and regularly come across those who have found themselves in strange and unusual situations in the past, risky situations in the past.
All company eventually ends up on the slate in front of a mortician. Long live the
They
king.
all require my services in the end. Long live the king.
As true as your words may be, Mr. Graves, I cannot help but make the observation that this individual still draws breath.
Whoa.
Is she referring to Silaster?
Yes.
Yeah.
He still draws breath. I'm sorry, I don't quite follow.
Well, you say that you see many in your line of work, but most of the time, in fact, all of the time, they are all dead, are they not?
Indeed. Most of the time, yes.
Curious. And what is more telling is the fact that I can read this elf like a book, and yet you two, I don't sense anything. There are not many that are able to do this. Morticians of great power. Apophis looks to
My lady,
Arcane
I am
Zarya.
an open book.
Apophis looks to Arcane Zarya just like questioningly, like as in like, where are you going with this? What were you going to say? Sorry.
Silaster is just under his.
Go on.
I was just going to say, my lady, I am an open book. Magic is not required. Please, just any questions you may have, please ask. My lady, I am an open book. You need not try to take anything from me. I have nothing to hide. Please, ask any questions you may have.
Yeah, Silaster was.
Show me them titties.
Was just going to say to Ansel, He may have to make a quick exit.
Who has to make a quick exit?
You can edit
Say,
this, right? Rob?
I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Not gonna. Why are you gonna make a quick exit, Silastra? I don't understand. Because you're worried she's gonna see that you're a cold-blooded murderer.
You're straight
I
up
just have
prick.
something may occur.
Well, if it does, we'll be ready.
There is ample time for you to make your assessment of the great work that lies before you, Mortician Graves. However, if there is anything that you would know of either myself, the First Voice, or Our Lady Arcane Zarya here, you need only ask.
I suppose the most prevalent question, which is an unfortunate question, and but one that must be asked nonetheless. What, to your knowledge, was the cause of death?
From what we have managed to ascertain, Apophis leans in. Time.
I see.
The king was venerable, though his age did not match his spirit, as fierce as the dragon within him. But sadly, his mortal frame could not keep up with such fire.
Indeed, I have
Do a sense motive.
lived here in the city under the reign of the great king since I was a boy, and I am very aware of his might.
Was that do a sense motive, Rob?
That was do a sense motive.
5.
14.
11.
We
Wow,
believe them.
Yeah, seems pretty... Yeah, seems like he's straight up.
Seems legit. Right. Definitely not like he's trying to replace the king in any way.
Arse off.
Do we have any more questions that we need answers for?
What scale did he choose?
I beg your pardon.
We all heard about the coronation and with the upcoming one, so on our minds. None of us were around when the old king was coronated.
Coronated.
Learn
that. There's one coming up, mate, in real life. Need to know.
We heard that he had to pick a scale, and that the scale would dictate his reign. I was just wondering what scale he picked.
Yes, well, and Arcane Zarya is the one speaking now. If you believe such things, I do not fully believe that old King Dectus's rule was entirely dictated by the scale that he chose, but there is some magic to the ceremony. Magic that connects the spirit of that ruler with a particular type of dragon. It is true. You can see about you that the finery denotes the colour that old King Dectus had chosen. As he turned it in his hand,
Is the
he had chosen a blue scale. Which means...
So an evil dragon. I know.
Well, evil is very much down to perspective. The king was logical, shrewd, and calculating. It is a wonder what the next king shall choose. We shall soon learn when Prince Random returns for the funeral.
Very good. I do not believe that we have any more burning questions. I may have more questions along the way, depending on my work and how easy my work is at this point. Any special requirements for the funeral? Questions about open casket, or will there be a procession? People to see the king.
Yes, there are many
all of
details.
These sorts of things. The standard questions for my trade.
Yes, most of the details have been included in a number of writs that await you when you go to read the last will and testimony of King Dectus. That information will also be provided to
Very
you.
good. Very good.
Last of all,
I'm just curious about her. Really?
Yeah. If you can, do you ask her anything or about that or?
Well, no. I just want to know, genuinely, my lady, your curiosity about me and my company. Please do not feel as if we have anything to hide. We would be more than willing to answer any questions you might have. Is there some information that you wish to glean from us that we might put your mind at ease?
Do you understand what my role is in the castle? What it is that I am called Arcane, Zarya? And you can give me a roll, actually, to see if you do know. It's not going to be super easy, but you can give me a history check.
Well, 13. You not well versed in my royal job roles.
Yeah. She will say, the reason I am Arcane Zarya, it denotes that I took study within the Arcane Tower itself, and that there are only a select few of my number.
Most impressive.
And those that serve the Arcane Tower, often, once completing their studies, journeys far and wide until eventually they find a kingdom that they will serve at the hand of some ruler to advise them on all matters magical. We are the forefront of magical study within the land of Main Realm. And it is my sole responsibility to have a full understanding of all magical forces that operate within this city. And she fixes you with a very long look.
I see. Interesting, because you look a bit like a sneaky bitch to me. I get what she's getting at. I know she wants to suss us out. She's suspicious that we're all magical and shit. Well, I am certainly aware of arcane and divine arts. Again, given my area and people of grief tend to be interested in these things, I have a rough knowledge in order to answer the questions of my clients' loved ones. Beyond that, I'm afraid I cannot help you.
She gives you a very long look,
Okay.
Bogrum. And then a smile. And you can't...
Bet she does.
There's no reading that smile.
She wants you.
There's no reading that smile. But you get the feeling like she's definitely definitely not going to take that eye off you for a while, shall we say, from just her glance.
She's on to us, boys. Right, okay.
You will be shown.
Not to. I'm definitely not going to reanimate the king. Don't worry.
I think you should.
Except I have pockets full of black onyx as we speak.
You need to do something, right?
I think, no. If he died of old age, I actually don't think I can resurrect him.
He didn't die of old
As a zombie.
age.
Well, actually, no. Dying of old age, you can't resurrect them, but that doesn't mean you can't bring back an old age zombie. That's nothing.
Also, although our characters think
God.
that's true, it was clearly horseshit.
Yeah. Oh my god, lads, I could have a king,
King
zombie
zombie.
tentacles. King zombie. This is my friend King.
You shall be delivered to
I
the chamber.
do not believe we have any further questions.
You shall be delivered to the Chamber of Rest. There you will be able to make your first assessments. I do thank you for your service, says Zarya. We shall await word of your progress.
It is my duty, and it is my honor.
They watch you go. Both of them just watch. They don't move a muscle as you are led from the throne room.
Long live the king.
Long live.
Just back it
the
up.
king.
Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. Long live the king. I will serve. I will be of service. Long live the king.
The guards, two of the Dragon Guard march with you, and you find yourself moving through hall after hall. This place is maze-like almost in its complexity, but you find that you are actually spiraling down through the castle to the point that no longer are there windows carved into the walls. No daylight can be seen. Your path is only shown before you by the light of flickering torches as you feel yourself descend deeper and deeper into the bowels of the castle. And then, almost without warning, your path opens up into a great chamber, and there is a chill within this room that allows your breath to be seen in front of you, so cold as it is in here. A great chamber with many great pillars. Once again, guarded by the great and well-armoured Dragon Guard. And there, in the centre of this chamber, there sits a stone dais. And upon it, a black sheet up to his chest, there lies a old and diminutive figure, as quiet as the grave. The lights flicker in this place. You note, Obsidian, that the finest tools have been placed upon 2 workbenches on either side of the bench. This is where you will be working, it seems. The 2 Dragon Guard that accompany you stop on the first pillars and keep their vigil there. There we are.
Okay, well, then my crow will fly up to the rafters. And just find a perch. My crow. And I will approach. Have I left the other 2 behind?
No, they're there as well. I do apologise, I've not made them visible. Bear with.
You're invisible, boys. You're invisible.
Yes.
As is only right.
Well, I suppose the thing here, right? I mean, the thing here, boys. I'm going to whisper this because I don't want everyone to hear.
I'm listening.
As if we actually are suspicious that the king didn't die in the way that it's, said, we could ask him.
Hold on. Let me take a look first.
Yeah,
there may be
but
something.
if we do, that's fine, absolutely. But if we're going to do that, we need to distract the guards because it's a bit obvious when I do that. Oh no! I've been resurrected.
Oh, he's dead.
It's not but we could ask him. I could do speak with dead on him, but
I think let's explore all of our options first. So you have a look at the body. I will have a look at the body, and then we'll.
Yeah. Very good. Let's approach.
I'd like to detect magic on the body in case there are any arcane. Or the other one that I can't remember the correct word for.
Divine?
Divine. Arcane or divine magical effects in effect.
Yes, so you are able to view the fallen king's body through the focus of detect magic. You don't detect any magic upon him. I will, however... There is a very, very, very trace amount of what you think is universal magic, like just basic arcane power. But the thinnest trace that you imagine could easily be coming from one of your friends. Not necessarily the king, but there's something there, sure. You're just not certain it's the king.
Or he could have had, a magical item on him at some point. Which wouldn't be unusual for a king, I suppose.
And you're just using your detect
Ansel.
magic vision, yes?
Yeah, I guess it's well lit, isn't it? So there's no need for dark vision, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, don't be casting anything that's obvious.
I'm
looking right
I can only cast a couple of things, they're not any use here. I cast Cause Fear!
Sickening blast the corpse.
Can I just do a standard heal check?
Yeah, you could do a standard heal check.
Ansel will shake his head at the fact that there's not any sort of obvious magical.
Okay, yeah, you could do a heal check.
22.
The king is well preserved. You know that he has been dead a number of days. Let's work it out. I have the date exactly when King Nectus died. So including today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. King Nectus died 6 days ago.
I was one short.
And for that, he has been remarkably well preserved. You suspect... Oh, I'm sorry, Ansel. You would detect... I've just suddenly realised you would detect a trace bit of magic.
Is it a gentle repose?
Give me a spellcraft check. Silaster, in terms of, whilst we wait for those results, Silaster, as a general look at the king, however, 22 is a fantastic roll. I think that you can tell, somehow, I'm not an expert of examining the dearly departed, but I think there's something about the way that the king has... you just tell something about like the physiology. Maybe at the side of his neck, perhaps there's like taut muscles, like part of his frame is frozen in the moment of his death. That he dies suddenly, very suddenly. That's the impression you get with a 22 on the heal check. I don't know what means you would pick up on that other than that. So, but yeah, he died suddenly. The spellcraft check was 18. Is that right, Ansel?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, gentle repose has been laid upon the king to keep him
Fresh.
to keep yes, and
To
that
keep the stank off him.
which does raise the question because once again the Zarya and Apophis kind of made it clear that they're not in short supply of people that are capable of looking after the king.
Gentle repose is a necromancy spell.
It is.
Those hypocritical fucks.
It is probably the least necromantic
The least
spell,
offensive necromancy spells, yeah. It basically is, it would work on fruit.
I don't want my fruit to go off.
Yeah, it's not, you couldn't, there's no raised fruit. But they don't
Raised
keep
fruit.
Raised fruit.
Oh, man.
Do
your thing, buggers.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. It's just a case of mortician stuff, and see what I can do. Like what it is they're requesting of me. Also, there was the will, where I need to read his will and why he's requested me, and I need to find out why he specifically requested me. There must be a reason.
As stated, the copy of the will has been placed there for you to read.
Yeah,
and it quite clearly states.
Okay.
Quite clearly states that Bogran Graves of Graves and Co. is to provide his services for my last ceremony on this plane. And sort of like gives detail of like the
Is there any indication as to when that was? Because obviously wills get changed and stuff over the years. He probably would never have heard of me before a certain time. Is there any indication when the will was last altered, when that particular stipulation was put into it?
Yes, so let's have a quick check. That is it's a very, very good question. So let me just bring up something.
That amendment was put in 7 days ago. Fuck. Like, this is definitely suspicious.
Okay, I'm trying to bring up the... Let's see.
Silaster yeah, any distinguishing marks? Can you do a search of the body to see if there are any distinguishing marks?
So while
Anything that somebody might
Silastra-
have left as a clue for me.
while Silastra does a search for the marks on the body, then I would like you to, I guess, make your argument for whatever skill you want to use to look through that will, Bogram, because I'm not entirely sure what it would be. I'm tempted to put decipher script, even though it isn't technically the use for it. It is still looking through writing and deciphering meaning from it. So
Yeah,
Gather
I mean,
information.
it kind of is, isn't it? Gather information would be a lot better because it's charisma based, which is my thing, but it is charisma based, which is more about talking to people than reading. So
I will say a decipher script roll, and each of you can make that roll if you can. I'm not sure. You might have to be trained. I can't remember.
it
Yeah, trained only.
cannot be used untrained, so it would just be straight intelligence anyway. In which case, if you just searching through documents. Ooh, rolled well. That's a 19. Straight intelligence. Jeez, where are those rolls when you need them normally?
Okay. I'm actually going to have to roll something here. Okay, so you're looking at this will, Bogram, and it's almost like you're looking at the different letters of someone who's like meticulously spelled out with a quill and ink. Some of the letters that are written there look perfectly identical to other letters within the text. It's a flawless section of handwriting, to the point that it's almost noticeable.
Like it's a little too good, maybe like it's a copy of in some way, or a forgery.
Yeah, it looks really. Yeah, it looks pretty spotless. That's what a 19 gets you. A 19 is a really good roll on that, so I feel like that should be rewarded. And there does something. It seems to be something a little off with that.
Okay.
You...
So again,
go ahead.
Sorry, I just so if Silas, because obviously, well, I think Silas is the best one at searching, unless you would
Listening.
really.
It's the ears.
Just because I'm not very good at searching, but we'll have a bit of a search. I mean, I'll have a search for sure, but I want to be looking for any clues in that case. If somebody's brought me here, if somebody wants me here to do this, they want me here for a reason, and so I'm wondering if there are any distinguishing marks on the body left as like clues or a message or something. So, just a search of the royal remains.
Yeah,
To try and come across anything, which is not very good. As I say, my search is crap, but... Oh, 17.
What about the royal stomach?
I'm not going to cut him open. That's not what's happening.
So that's just a search of the body in general.
Yeah, just a search of him. Any marks on his skin? Anything that might have been left as a clue? Something I would pick up on.
Okay, that is pretty good. You see that. First of all, you note that he is fully bejeweled. His fingers are decorated with a number of rings. You notice that one of them in particular is a large signet with what looks like a sapphire blue dragon scale infused into it.
Oh, I bet that's worth some money.
However, it looks almost... With that check, it looks slightly damaged. Almost like it's been charred. It's like, imagine if you caught something whilst cooking the edges of it seem blackened. But if you weren't paying too much attention, you wouldn't notice. But
wow. Okay. What would char?
What do we know about blue dragons? Are they electricity?
Yeah. I mean, you can know that, sure. Anything else? You can
Would I
make
know that?
a knowledge arcana check.
You'd think somebody who played a druid for a significant amount of time who could turn into blue dragons would remember what anything about blue dragons.
We know about
Electricity is sort of blue.
I think we all know, like, we know the difference between metallic and chromatic dragons.
Very much.
I
so.
reckon that's sort of common knowledge, isn't it, for the people that live in the city? But otherwise, specifics probably a bit.
Yeah, you
That's
know,
right.
that's like of that's like deep legends of the entire world is the divide between the two kinds of dragons, the chromatic and the metallic, and how symbolically it seems like all conflicts kind of come back to the nuance between chaos and order, and that is a war that sort of rages within the heart of each dragon. Of those that remain in this world, anyway. But yeah, Blue Dragon. What was your Arcana check? Sorry.
Silas got the highest.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah.
19.
So you've heard legends of blue dragons. There was even rumours of a blue dragon or two, maybe within the Rocken. You know that the Endless Rocken is a haven for dragons, at least one or two of them. So they definitely would around that neck of the woods, certainly. You know that they use their breath weapon. It's a burst of immense electrical power. And you know that they are, as King Dectus was described, cold, logical, shrewd, tactical as well. It is you heard often that King Dectus was good at being a king in the ways of like making the country run. Like efficiency was his superpower as a king, and you can see why now, learning that a blue dragon is methodical and even tempered in that way. Ansel. Oh, so no, go on, Silas. Sorry, you first.
I'm going to spend, just whilst they're now doing some checks, I'm going to spend as much time as I can channeling my sense magic into the ring. I might just get an impression of what the ring, if it has anything about it, maybe, and maybe if there's anything corrupt about it, you know, just to get an impression. But I'll just take some time to do that.
You absolutely begin doing that, and it's as you're doing that, Ansel, you can follow, your eyes follow like Silas's train of thought, and your vision with detect magic, I imagine, still being on. You are able to glean that faint trace of magical power is actually coming from the marks on that ring, as faint as they are.
So it seems as if the ring has, because rings are often magical. Has the ring emitted magic? Because it's very, very pinpoint, isn't it? It's very specific for burns to be on the ring. No one's going to cast a spell that burns the ring specifically. So maybe the ring actually emitted some sort of magic.
But then why would only the ring be burned?
just don't know. I just don't know. We're in a bit of a loss.
That's okay.
That's all we can find on him at the moment.
Ooh, that's 27 is my sense magic check
27.
on the ring.
You see beneath.
Almost a crit.
You see beneath the beneath a magic that is covering another kind of power. You see that there has been deliberate attempts to remove any trace of this power. For a moment, Silaster, it's as if you see the ghostly images circling. It's that same feeling of that ever-present power, that darkness. Only a slight trace of it upon this ring that has been scrubbed clean of it.
I will. Yeah. Seems what haunts your house.
Can't hear you, mate, sorry.
Ah. It seems what haunted your house haunts this ring. Well, haunted.
But someone's erased it.
Almost.
We'd have the power to do that. That bloody woman.
Yeah, Arcane Zarya. Or perhaps
That suspicious lady. Okay. I mean, I suppose now really it comes down to the fact that they want him properly embalmed and stuff, like, and ready for a funeral.
That's right. In the notes, you notice,
Yeah.
Obsidian, that you have been given full leave to go about your business in the castle. So you'll be permitted to come and go as you please to Castle Valdonor now. You effectively have a free pass into the into this great fortification.
I bet they've got an amazing cafeteria. I bet it's incredible. Stop by for lunch every day.
Can recommend, yes. Can recommend.
Yeah.
So you can...
okay, so in which case then it's time. I mean, I shall get started on.
do you think you can convince the dragon guards to leave by suggesting that the body needs to be for the king's dignity to be kept intact?
I mean,
and then we
maybe.
can
Maybe I need to come up with a convincing reason for them to leave. It's not so much with me. It's not so much diplomacy. It's more about barefaced fucking lying. I'm good at that. If I can come up with a legitimate reason that sounds convincing, they'll be.
Well,
convinced.
you're gonna be stripping him naked, aren't you?
Yes.
And
oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, just my
the
own
big
time.
king wouldn't want everyone to see the little king.
Yeah.
Long live the king.
True.
Long live the king.
Long live the little king. Okay. I don't know. I feel like they're probably not going to be swayed by that. I feel like that's expected that a mortician would have to do that, and these guys are going to be like, no, this is our posting. Difficult. What's the layout of the room?
You can always come back if you want to devise such a
I think
plan.
that's probably going to be the best bet.
It's entirely you do what you want. I'm
I
not
think
saying
so.
you have to
I don't
go,
think
but
now
that's an
and
option.
here
You
is the
have
right
time.
place.
As a matter of fact, you have 11
No, I
days.
think you're right though. Yeah, I don't think there's much that that he would start doing now anyway. I think he's come down to look at the will. Which has been doctored in some way. To check the body, we've picked up that I think we've got a little bit of information to go on. It's just how to investigate it further. But I don't think now this isn't the right place or time to come up with a plan right in front of these guards in a very echoey room.
Silaster does have one, but he'll save his something for a bit later.
Does he now? Okay. Sure. Yep. Okay. In which case, then I'll return to the guard that led us down here and tell him that we've concluded our initial assessment.
Very good.
And that I will now come up with my usual plan for the best. The best kind of method for this case, as everybody is different, and be sure to have him ready for his funeral.
Very good. We will. We shall lead you from the castle if it is your wish.
Yeah, I think so. If you guys have anything else you want to do here?
Poke the king.
Just give him a prod.
You'll spam.
Just so you can tell everyone, prodded the king. I prodded the king today. Long live the king.
Long live the king.
Long live the king.
Despite the fact that he lies there and does look diminutive in his old age, there is still like a regal bearing to him, even in his departure. But you're able to leave the quiet and cold of the Chamber of Rest as the Dragon Guard lead you through the great fortification, the great castle, and then out of the gates. They bid you farewell.
Yes. Right. Now what, boys? Is everything wrapped up with the birdcage?
No.
It's fine. Consider it a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a gift?
I believe our contact.
Hang on, but it was stolen in a dodgy situation by pirates, and now it's in my front room. What?
No.
I've already got...
The contact who wanted it, I suspect, may not come back for it. So...
May not?
Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe the people he was working for will. We don't know. It doesn't matter.
You're not choosing your words very carefully, but you are trying to.
Now listen, I do have an idea.
Right, okay.
But it is risky.
Ooh.
Go
Well,
on.
it's been a few hours since I was nearly dead, so come on.
I believe I need to sneak in
to the castle?
Yes, the chambers of the first voice and the arcane.
Oh,
Do you
wow,
think
okay.
you're capable of that?
Potentially.
Do we need some sort of magic? Potions, invisibility, or
I have a few, but
anything that could help with this venture? A grappling hook?
imagine caltrops.
I just worry that she's all magic and stuff and probably has some sort of... And if you get caught sneaking in, there's no second chance there. You're done.
Which is why I think
Yeah,
the best
then.
time would be during the day.
During the day. Mm.
I
We
don't
could
want to
probably...
get- I think she suspects me.
Yeah. Well, we could certainly... I think we could do some sort of distraction that would help. Also, there's definitely a plan we could come up with there, and if you think that you could sneak in and get some information, definitely worth it. We just need a solid plan.
If there was a way I could get one or both of you in with me, and I fear the one idea I had is too dangerous. But
What is it? What's the one idea you had that's too dangerous?
Silas's eyes just moved to the bag of holding.
Yeah, I knew what you were going to say. I knew you were going to say it. We'd fit. It's just the oxygen that's in there.
Yeah. How long does the oxygen last, and how long can you hold your breath for?
There are stats for it. It lasts.
We don't know.
Depends on how many of you are in there, but like it's possible.
Not sensible, but possible.
I can hold my breath.
Exactly.
I think maybe.
Mr. Fights a net.
Okay. What about Olam and his house? We were going to search there. Maybe we could make that a thing now. Go and check him out and ask about this strange necromantic power that seems to be surrounding the city.
Aye.
It's something we can do, at least. It's an active thing that we can go and, be proactive with. At the moment, I'm at a bit of a loss as to what the next step is with the king. We have information, but I'm not sure. We need more. We need something to put that together. This is a thing we can actually actively do.
Well, there is one thing that glues all of this together.
What's that?
Silas just pokes Bogrim on the shoulder. It's you.
My shoulder.
That's my shoulder.
That's my
He's pointing
shoulder.
He's pointing at me, Ansel. Yeah. Okay. It does, but I can tell you this. I didn't make this magic happen. I didn't kill the king.
Someone's bringing you into it.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. We need to know who. We need to uncover. I just don't know. I don't know how to find out more information.
I think you need to ask him. And we need to find a way to do that. Enable that.
To ask the king.
Yeah.
Okay.
How
I'm
much?
down. I am so down. I cannot wait to cast that spell on the king. That is so badass. But not in front of all the guards that will instantly kill me. They will kill me to bits.
Well, you never know. If I sneak in and get caught, that might be the distraction you need.
Yeah, but then they'll kill you. No, we don't want to get caught. Oh man, hang on. I need to check something because once again, trick could come in handy. Because say if I was to allow trick the spell, so if I put the spell into him, and then we left, but he didn't, because he's just a crow up in the rafters, right? They're not gonna.
Yeah, but I think the guard are there.
All the time.
At least some of them are.
Ceremonial vigil.
Yeah. Difficult.
You find yourself wandering through the city streets, and you've probably found some quiet corner to like have this discussion where you're certain you won't be overheard. You're in the heart of the city,